Hi, I am Pastor Brito of Providence Church in Pensacola, Florida. I wanted to talk just for a couple of minutes on the church calendar. The evangelical culture has thought very deeply about the question of the church calendar. And in our day, you may find many churches in your area celebrating things like Christmas and Easter. But of course, these are only two elements of a larger narrative that we find in the Scriptures. Human beings are inescapably bound to time. God created time for our pleasure. He created seasons for our enjoyment. And as Solomon says, there is a season and a time for everything. When we consider the church calendar, what we are doing is we are structuring the time for the church itself through the lens of someone. And that someone is our Lord Jesus Christ. Christians are richer for living and reliving the events of the earthly ministry of Jesus, beginning in His advent, which was in the expectation of the coming Messiah, prophesied in the pages of the prophet Isaiah, and entering into the scene of the first century darkness as the saints awaited this long expected Jesus. And from that expectation of the Advent season, we enter into the blessedness and the joy of Christmas, where the Christ child comes to bring blessings far as the curse is found. The Christmas season, unlike what many believe today, is not bound by one day on December the 25th, but it lasts for 12 days, from the 25th of December all the way to January the 5th. On the 6th of January, the church enters into a new season called the Epiphany. The word Epiphany simply means manifestation or revelation. And it speaks to the revelation of Jesus to the Gentiles for the first time. His revelation to the three magi, His revelation to the Gentile nations, for Jesus has been promised to be a light that lightens the Gentiles. And the Epiphany season develops for us, even through 6 weeks, the months of January and February usually, the blessedness of the Christ child who comes and brings riches to the nations of the earth. Now, the Epiphany season takes us all the way from the revelation of Jesus to Jesus' earthly ministry as an adult. And that ushers in the Great Lent, as it is called, the Lenten season, which is usually defined by the color purple, indicating the royalty of Jesus as He enters Jerusalem and gives His life as not only the King of the Jews, but the King of the whole world. The season of Lent is usually marked by a season of introspection, a season of examination, where the church takes the final days of Jesus, His crucifixion, and meditates upon these things through different texts, through different hymns. The church embodies that final week of Jesus as she incorporates into her liturgy and into her very being the essence of what it means to be a suffering community in union with her suffering Lord. But that is not the end of the story. For on the third day, we know very well the story that Jesus rose from the dead victorious, exploding death itself and crushing his greatest enemy, the devil. Jesus rises victorious, and that season, which we call the season of Easter, brings for us a season of 7 weeks of celebration and joy, where the church walks with her Lord triumphant, risen from the dead in bodily form, and enters into the joy of the resurrection. We are, as Paul says, justified by His resurrection, and therefore we experience the joy and the celebration of what it means to be in union with our risen Lord. The Easter season opens the door for the season of Pentecost, which is the last season of the church. And it also happens to be the longest season of the church, which lasts around 6 months. In the season of Pentecost, what we see now is the gospel going to the ends of the earth. What we see during the Pentecost season is the fulfillment of the Great Commission, as the resurrection, the ascension of Jesus now is given over by the ministry of the Spirit to the church. And Pentecost is a celebration of the life of the church. as the church itself carries on the mission of Jesus to the ends of the earth. The church calendar is a glorious thing because it unites us with Jesus Christ, who is the ruler of all time. And we are indeed privileged to enter into time with Jesus Christ our Lord.